For those of you who I don't know, I'm Lauren. Thank you for joining. I'm not really sure what Bill usually does entirely for his classes, but we're going to go ahead and use whatever equipment you've got. I have some weights here. I have 15, 8, and 3 pound weights, but if you don't have weights, peanut butter jars work really well. They weigh about a pound each. And I've also got a 4-pack of organic garbanzo beans, which weighs about 4 pounds. So you're welcome to use that. So please, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, requests, please do not hesitate to ask me. I really don't mind. I love requests. And because it's difficult for me to see you and hear you, I can't really provide feedback for you. So please ask me. Let me make sure that everybody's doing okay. So let's just go ahead and start with some dynamic warm-ups here. We're just going to start loosening up the arms, just nice and slow, nice and gentle. Make sure that you're not going to be hitting anything. I know a lot of people are working in their kitchens or their living rooms. Go ahead and go front and back now, just gentle swinging here. And we're going to start marching in place, just getting that heart rate up. I see some new people in here. I'm glad to have you. At least new to me. Let's go ahead and start doing some modified jumping jacks. So we're just going to step side to side as the arms go up overhead. If you have a shoulder injury where it's difficult for your shoulder to do this movement, go ahead and just go to the front, one to the side, one to the front. Okay? Do what you can, or you can just do whatever, as long as you're doing some modified jumping jacks. Okay? And we're starting slow. My shoulders are already getting tired. Go ahead and do some high marches now. Keep those arms moving. Okay, high marches. I'm keeping my core active, imagining that I'm wearing like a tight dress, belly button in and up towards the spine, and just marching. All right. La-di-da. Okay. And you'll notice everybody's body is different. I'm dealing with a foot injury, so my knees are kind of compensating. So my knees tend to cross over my body. Try not to let that happen. We're trying to use the quadriceps here, the thighs. Okay. Nice and smooth, staying active in the core. And of course, if this is too easy for you, grab your jars of peanut butter. Grab your cat, whatever you want to do. Good. Let's go ahead and start doing some kicks to the back. Right? We're holding the core active, activating the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. It's kind of like cross-country skiing, right? We're really using the legs here, really getting moving. And we're taking nice deep breaths. If this is easy for you, speed it up. Grab weights, okay? Keep doing that, everybody. I want to check who we got in here. I love being able to see all of you. This is very cool. Keep going, everybody. All right. Let's go ahead now. We're going to work on just a little bit of lateral movements. We're going to activate the sides of the hip here, okay? So let me make sure. Take a nice deep breath. Take a quick breather. Okay, I want to make sure that we're stepping directly to the side, not to the front, not to the back. So we're going to step to the side and we're going to bend the leg that we've stepped on. We keep that other one straight. So I am stepping and then leaning forward just a little bit. It doesn't need to be low. Okay, it really shouldn't be. We're just starting to activate the gluteus medius. And this position here with my hands just helps me engage my back and my chest. And I'm breathing. Nice deep breaths, keeping the core active. Now, because we're all watching the screen, we're cheating on our form just a little bit. I'm keeping my neck up like this. And really, what I want to do is keep my neck neutral with the rest of my spine. So practice that. Your knees should definitely be working right now. If you want to go lower, you can, that's fine. I'm looking out into my dining room right now, and my boyfriend is just eating right now. He was eating chocolate chip cookies the other day while I was working out. That was not fair. Good. Go ahead and shake it out. Loosen up for just a moment. We're going to work on some practical movements here, okay? I'm going to say this word and you're going to go, oh, my knees don't like that, and that's lunges, okay? Now, I don't need to see a full-on, all the way down to the ground lunge. It's not necessary. We want to work on the balance and the control like we're doing in Tai Chi. So we're going to start back here from our starting position. We're going to take a nice big step forward, roll through the foot, shifting your weight to that foot, and you're going to think of bending the back knee, okay? So you'll notice I did not go down low, okay? It's not necessary at all. From here, we're going to press it back and return to our initial position. So we're rolling through the foot, keeping this back heel lifted all the way, and hinging forward at the hip as we bend the back knee. Don't let this back foot travel downwards. Okay, so do that a few times. For those of you who take Tai Chi, you can practice that as well, right? Shifting your weight to and from the feet. Deep breaths. Right? And if that's too easy for you, just take a big lunge. Nice big steps. Just make sure that your front knee doesn't travel forward. Okay. A couple more of those. It's a very, very, very practical movement, everybody. This is how we pick stuff up off the floor. All right. Keeping the core active. Go ahead and do one more on each side. All right. Go ahead and grab a drink of water. All right, now we're gonna work on some squats. Now squats are difficult for you, grab your friend, the chair. Make sure it's a very sturdy chair. Try not to use a rolly chair or a ball, okay, if you are using a chair. So we're gonna start on the very edge of our seat, okay? Our knees are going to be directly over our toes. Okay, so we don't wanna be too wide, we don't wanna be really narrow. We don't need to sit like the queen. So knees are directly over the heels, core is active, and I'm gonna just put my hands right here in Namaste because we're not gonna use the hands to push off the legs or the chair. Okay, so we're gonna lean forward and squeeze your butt. Okay, squeeze your butt, squeeze your belly, push through the heels, and stand all the way up.
Oh, okay.
If that is too difficult for you, start in a standing position and imagine that you're gonna go all the way down. Your key here is if your knees travel forward like this, you're not doing it right, okay? So if I do that, if my knees travel forward, I'm totally gonna miss this chair. I need to make sure that the knees stay right over the heels and the butt drops down so that I'm on the chair, okay? And be careful.
I'm done.
You're gonna feel this in your knees. Just go nice and smooth, nice and slow. Keep going, everybody.
Yeah.
I see some heads bobbing up and down. It means you're doing your squats. Excellent job. A lot of times, now I can't see all of your knees, unfortunately, but a lot of times what happens with the squats is we do something like this. We open up and we roll outwards on the arches of the feet, or we collapse the arches inwards. And we want to keep the feet totally flat, our weight totally distributed evenly, okay, through the feet. So you should also be able to kind of wiggle your toes at the bottom. It means that you're putting your weight into the hips for these. You should be feeling this butt, back, and the quads. A couple more of those. Nice deep breaths. Keep this active. Go ahead and come up on your last one. Shake it out for a moment. Nice deep breath. And you're gonna go down and hold right here. Just right there. Not all the way, you're about halfway down. Okay, holding. Make sure that you can wiggle your toes. You should be able to lift your big toe off the floor and your body won't move. Okay, now let's go a little lower. Squeeze your butt. Squeeze that booty. Holding, holding, holding. Keep your core active. And now as slowly as you can, you're going to come all the way back up. And breathe. Nicely done. All right, let's grab your light set of weights. I'm just going to use the light weights today. Or your jars of peanut butter. Or your Yorkshire Terriers, whatever you want to grab, okay? Palms are going to face forward, right? We want to make sure that we're not like locking the elbows though. Some people have hyperextended elbows, which means the elbow kind of bends inwards past normal position. So you want to make sure we're not locking those elbows. We're going to hold that core nice and active, and we're just going to do biceps curls. So we're just bending the arm all the way up without moving the body, right? We don't want to throw these weights. You are in full control of these weights.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it open until this evening I shut down. Is that okay?
Do not shut it all the way down.
Deep breaths, everyone.
This much.
Okay.
Crack it.
Yeah.
Not let it touch the bottom.
People have to mute their audio.
Yeah, I have everybody really turned down low. But if you're having trouble with the audio, make sure that your microphone is muted unless you're asking questions.
Yes, because every time I see them and not you. So please mute.
We're doing a few more of these, everybody. Just nice, clean biceps curls. One thing that I see a lot too with these is bending in the wrist, and we don't want to do that. It's like when we come up, we're holding a platter, right? If we bend the wrist, we drop the platter. We don't want to do that. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to come all the way up, and you're going to hold right at 90 degrees, like you're holding that platter. Hors d'oeuvres, shrimp cocktail, little mini hot dogs, escargot. Okay, just hold. And I'm opening my hands so that my forearms and my biceps have to work harder. And then you're going to come all the way back up, and you're going to do, let's do 6 more, all the way through full range of motion. I already lost count. I can't count to 6. Let's just do 2 more. Last one. And then all the way down nice and slow. And take a break. Whew, shake it out. All right. If you have a rotator cuff injury, this next exercise is going to be difficult for you. So I recommend either using very light weights or no weights at all. It's important that you be as symmetrical as possible. So if one shoulder likes to hike up, you're not going to let it. So like if you try to open your arms like this and one goes up, just go to where they can both stay even. Small and correct is better than big and incorrect. Okay. So we're just going to go to a T. Okay. We don't need to do the YMCA, just to a T. And then you're going to float back down. Make sure that we're not hunching the shoulders here. We're staying nice and tall so that we're working the top of the shoulder here. And breathe. Keep it breathing. Again, if you have trouble with this one, if one shoulder likes to hike up or if they both hike up, do it small. Small is good. Nice and slow. Keep going. Very nice, everybody. A few more of these guys.
Jackie Chan, your picture keeps popping up.
Mine does?
Jackie Chan's picture, 50% of the time.
You have to pin my picture. So there's a little dot and ellipsis, the 3 dots next to each other. If you click on that on my picture, pin it. And it'll make my picture full screen and you won't, I don't think you'll see anybody else's. So go ahead now, we're gonna go to the front with these, okay? So I don't want you to drive a Corvette, okay? So don't lean backwards, stay nice and tall, the arms go forward. Again, this is one of those moments where if you can't get both your arms that high, don't worry about it, just go small. Okay, you're gonna go both of them to the front. My arms are nice and even. They're so even that because I'm standing sideways, you can't see my back arm, right? Try to keep them as even as possible. If you don't have weights, you can also use a band for this, by the way. Keep going with those. If you have bands like this, your physical therapy bands, if they're strong enough, you can put it around your foot and do these. Oh, that's actually harder. Okay, so you won't go as high with that one. Okay, a couple more of those. Good. And go ahead and just rotate those hands back to a normal position, right? Palms next to your body here. And we're just going to do shrugs, straight up and down. Try to stay nice and tall through the neck. And we're breathing. I'm seeing a mix of North and East people. It's the first time in history that these people have met. Go ahead and relax. We're going to test your coordination now, okay? So we're going to alternate one to the front and one to the side, okay? So one to the front and one to the side, alternating every time. You should really feel. Now I see a couple people going way too high up. Don't. You're just going to shoulder height, okay? So don't go too far up. Go right in front of the shoulder, alternating every time. You are in control of those weights, no throwing allowed.
Jackie, whoever Jackie Shen is, she needs to put hers on mute because it goes to the active speaker and it's taking her as the active speaker.
Okay, hang on just 1 second. Let me see if I can mute her.
Somebody said that because they're coming in, they're coming in their faces.
Okay, hang on just a second, guys. Keep going with those exercises. Okay, I just made myself the host. That should fix that. And then let me go ahead.
She can mute everybody.
Now I can mute people. Okay, I believe I have, unless you have your mic open, you are muted. Okay, so let me know if that works. Let's go ahead and just do a couple more of those. So just alternating. It's kind of like you're walking, right? It's a very normal movement if you think about it. Okay. Good. And go ahead and relax. Oh, I gotta change this. Grab a drink of water, everybody. Why can't I see people now? There we go. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and do some overhead presses now. Now, if you have a shoulder injury, these are going to be really tricky. So what I recommend is just practice raising your arm without tilting the body or hunching the shoulder. So the arm can do this really cool thing where it can hunch and it can raise at the same time, or it can just raise, right? We don't want the shoulder to come towards the ear. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice an overhead press. Again, you can't just practice raising your hands. So you're going to bring it up like you're drinking a glass of water. Okay, your palm is facing your body. And then you're going to press straight up overhead so that your arms are covering your ears. But again, I'm not hunching the shoulders. Okay, and then back down. If you can't get your arms straight in that position, do a field goal. Okay, and then back down. Right, you can always modify. Really working those shoulders today. Nice and slow, everybody. You're staying nice and long, yes? Deep breaths. Couple more of those. By the way, if anybody has any exercise requests, please let me know. Be glad to do them for you. Let's do 2 more. Good, and come down nice and slow. Whew. All right. I don't know what equipment everybody has. If you have a ball, go ahead and grab it. You can do this on a coffee table. You can do this on stairs as long as you are, or you can do it on the ground as long as you are able to do a sit-up or a crunch. Okay, so we'll start on the ball, or in your seated position, or in a chair. A chair would work too. So if you're in a chair, you're just gonna extend your legs away from you, sitting far away, far on the edge here, And you'll just lean back with a straight back, and you're just gonna do some small sit-ups here. Now these can be tough if you have a lower back injury. Please do not be afraid to ask me for an alternative. Otherwise, you're gonna roll forward just a little bit, okay? And you'll lean back. I'm wearing socks, so I'm slipping. And you'll just do a small crunch, okay? Now, if those aren't working for you, if you're having trouble with that, here's another alternative. You can take one of these guys and put it around like a door handle, or like a pillar if you've got something really strong, okay? And you can stand sideways to it and push it forward, right? So you would, I don't have a good way to set that up in here, so just go ahead and continue your crunches. If you're still having trouble, just suck it in, hold, and relax, and suck it in, hold, and relax. Always a way to modify. Okay, otherwise we're just doing little crunches. Just getting that core firing. And we're taking nice deep breaths, of course. Let's go ahead and do a couple more. And finish your last one. All right, let's go ahead now. I'm gonna do this next set on the ground. If you're on your ball, you can still stay on the ball. So I'm gonna just grab my weights. You don't need weights for this one, but you'll start on the ground or wherever, and you'll just lean it back slightly. Keep these weights literally resting against your chest, and you're just gonna do small little twisting movements. So I'm not twisting my knees or my hips. I'm actually twisting my spine, my rib cage here, okay? Now, if you have a lower back injury or some kind of spinal injury where twisting is not an option, you can just do lateral tilts. Keeping the core active, you'll just kind of go down and then squeeze your belly back up. It's not about how far you go, it's about engaging the right muscles. Okay, we're just gonna do small little movements here. And we're taking nice deep breaths. If you're in a chair, make sure that you are slightly leaned back. You can cross your heels to make it easier on your legs. Taking nice deep breaths. If it's too easy for you, grab heavier weights or lean further back, okay? Or go faster. Okay? Do what your body likes to do. Keep it going. Lower back should be feeling it. Couple more. Good, go ahead and finish up your last couple ones and slowly lean it forward and take a break. How are we doing, everybody? That good, huh? Okay. Yeah. All right. We're gonna practice another really practical movement, which is a deadlift. So if you have some kind of weight, go ahead and grab that. I'm gonna use my 15-pound weight, but you can use whatever you like. So for those of you who haven't taken any of my classes before, I like to use Barbie as an example sometimes, okay? Because she stands really tall, right? And when she gets thrown back into the toy box, she folds in half with a straight back, right? Now, Barbie's legs are not anatomically correct, so we want to make sure that we're not locking the knees. We don't want to push the knees backwards. We're keeping a slight bend, but our back is nice and flat. So if you came over and set your mug of tea on my back, it wouldn't spill, right? So then we're going to squeeze the belly and squeeze the back and push the hips forward as we lift the weight. So this is a basic deadlift, okay? You're going to feel this in the hamstrings and the lower back. So as we fold in half like Barbie, the weight travels down our legs. I'm literally kind of smearing it on my pants here, right? And then I'm gonna squeeze my butt and come all the way back up. You really do not need weight to feel these. You'll feel that in the lower back. And if you cannot go as far down as me, if you get to right here, it's fine. You're gonna come all the way up. Keep going with those. A few more. Again, you want to keep your back straight. As soon as your back starts to do this, it means your shoulder blades are separating and you're using different muscles. So make sure that you're kind of puffing out the chest a little bit to keep your back straight. And squeezing belly, squeezing butt. Couple more. You'll notice too that at the top I'm pushing my hips into the weight, and that's good. Just don't lock your knees, okay? We want to really activate the glutes. Go ahead and do 2 more. Good. And when you set down your weight, you always do it correctly with proper deadlift form. Okay, I don't have downstairs neighbors before you ask. All right, let me check the time real quick. Oh, still got a half an hour, excellent. Let's go ahead and get the heart rate back up. So we're gonna just start with some arm swings here and we're gonna march in place. Please let me know if you have requests, everybody.
Well, maybe ask her to repeat. MEA.
Just marching in place. Let's lift those feet higher up now.
I just stay on, I think. They just stay on. Is that what it said?
No, you're gonna get a phone call tomorrow. Stay on.
I thought they said stay on now.
Go ahead and reach those knees further up now. I'm gonna have to move my arms, do it differently now. Here we go.
President from MEA. Going around 1:30 tomorrow, you're gonna get a phone call.
All right.
It's going to be a town hall meeting between her and Whitmer for teachers only.
Make sure your mics are muted, guys. Keeping your core active, lifting up those knees.
Stuff like that.
If you're having trouble with the balance, you can use your wall.
No, you handed it to me and I missed half the recording. That's my point. You just listen to it and tell me. Because now we missed part of it.
All right, let's go ahead and do some toe taps. If you have limited flexibility, you're just gonna aim for the shin or the knee, okay? But you're gonna breathe, that's very important. Take a breath in and breathe out. Okay, go at a speed that makes sense for you. If this is too easy for you, grab weights. I find that being stuck inside for prolonged periods of time means that we're really losing flexibility in the lower back, the hips, and the hamstrings. This is a really nice dynamic stretch for that. So I'm not locking my knees, but I am keeping my back mostly flat, okay? And breathing. Again, flexibility. If you can't reach your toes, aim for the knees. And you can also start doing a little squat too if you'd like. A couple more. And come on up. Nicely done, everybody. Go ahead and grab a drink of water. I need to go grab some. I'll be right back. Everybody feeling okay? I can only hear like one person. I'm not sure how everybody's doing. Okay. I think we should cool down and spend the rest of our time doing some stretches and some mobility exercises. So let's just take a nice deep breath. We're gonna find our way to standing. I have my shoes off, as you can see. I think it gives you a lot more mobility in the feet to do these kinds of exercises. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna warm up the calves by going up on the ball of the foot and then pushing the heel back down, just alternating sides. Try not to let the ankles roll outwards or inwards in my case. That's what I do. Okay. Keeping all the toes flat on the floor. Keep going with that, everybody. Just shifting your weight between your feet and taking nice deep breaths. Now I challenge you here to do this. Really test your balance. I challenge you to do this without moving your upper body. It'll make you really have to suck it in and up and hold this core, hold your hips, hold your butt. Okay. A lot of times I see a lot of moving because we're really shifting the weight from a knee injury or a hip injury.
What did he eat? You want a little bite of something or what?
Keep going with that, everybody.
You have to feed him something. You're gonna give him a stool softener tonight.
It's in the.
Couple more. So I just muted everyone. So if you're going to say anything, you're going to have to unmute yourself, okay? Or type in the chat box. Deep breaths. So as you continue with this, you're really going to feel a stretch in the ball of the foot, right? You're really going to feel that right through here. Yes, I have T-Rexes on my socks. Okay, so you're really going to feel that stretch in the bunion, especially if you have those. Really taking nice deep breaths, okay? And then go ahead and start doing that thing that your cat does. If you have a cat, they just destroy the carpet, right? Really start articulating through the toes like you're springing off your toes, okay? Good. Let's go ahead and just do a couple calf presses. This is when you might want to use a desk, a chair, or a wall if you have trouble with balance. Again, it's an illusion. You don't actually need it. So just one finger on the wall or whatever. You're holding your balance. Test your balance as you shift your weight slightly forward and press up through the ball of the feet. Calf presses, okay? You've probably had to do these if you've had physical therapy for a knee or a hip. Okay, I'll try to practice this. Right, whatever you want to do with your arms. Okay, some people like namaste, hips, whatever you want. Just make sure, I see a lot of times when we go up on the ball of the foot, I see a lot of rolling out, especially with ankle or with bunions. I tend to do the opposite, which is not good either. You don't want to do either of those. You want to stay nice and even. Okay, should look like you're wearing high heels. And just do a couple more of those. And you can also practice walking around like this. Okay, it'll really strengthen your calf muscles and test your balance. Go ahead and take a break. And now what we're gonna do, you can use a wall or a desk or whatever. Start in this neutral position here. You're gonna take a big old step forward and plant your back heel down as you bend your front knee forward. Relax this back knee though. But keep that heel pressed down, stretching that calf. That feels good. So we're gonna go ahead and spend the rest of the time stretching for today. So again, if you've got any questions, you're gonna have to unmute yourself or you're gonna have to type in the chat. Also, feel free to email me. My email is, it should be actually listed on here. And it's on the Court One website, so please don't hesitate to ask me. I really like your feedback. Once you start to relax in the stretch, go ahead and bend this knee a little bit further forward, but keep your back heel pressed gently downwards. Relax your butt and your legs. Go ahead now and just barely lift your heel off the floor as you bend your back knee. You're now stretching a different muscle in the calf. I was hoping I'd be able to use my posters, but the quality is not as good as I wanted it to be. So you'll just have to believe me when I say there's multiple muscles that we're stretching. I'm gonna go ahead and step it forward, do some circles with that ankle, loosen it back up. Whew. Nice deep breaths. And we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. So we're going to start in this neutral position. We'll take a nice big step forward and plant that heel back down. It's a good time to test your balance, right? Right. Make sure we're not leaned backwards. Relax your back. And hold your core. Also, we want to make sure that our foot isn't rotated outwards. This is a warrior position. That's not what we're doing. We want to stretch the calf. Okay, so we have to make sure that our toes are parallel. Our toes are facing our front here. And bend that knee forward. And when you get a little bit more loosened up, you can lean it forward. Nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can release that heel just a little bit off the ground and bend that back knee. You'll be stretching the soleus now. Ooh. I'm recovering from an Achilles injury, so I really, really feel this stretch in my heel and up the back of my lower leg. That's where you should be feeling it too. Maybe even into the hamstrings. Go ahead and step it forward, and you're going to use your chair or your counter or whatever. We're going to do a nice modified downward dog here. So I'm just going to put my fingertips, just my fingertips hanging over the edge of the chair here. I'm going to take a nice big step back. Okay. So my back's nice and flat. My knees are relaxed. And I'm going to imagine that my butt is going up towards the ceiling and back. I'm pretty flexible here with this one. So make sure that you're going to what feels good for you. You may only get to about right here before you feel it. Don't lock up. Relax your knees. Okay. Bend your elbows and just drop your head. Take nice deep breaths. This is a pretty intense stretch for the back of the body here. Breathing. Always taking nice deep breaths. So everybody, I'm going to leave about 5 minutes at the end of the class, like I've been doing, for any questions or comments or anything, any problems you have with Zoom. Feel free to open up and ask. Go ahead now, and as you bend your knees, put your hips further back. Don't let your knees travel forward, right? So just slightly bend those knees, let the hips drop a little, and then you're going to lift your butt back up. And breathe. This is a very small movement. Do not need to make this a big movement. Go ahead and come on up nice and slow. If you're using a countertop, you can go ahead and push your hips forward. Oh, that feels pretty nice. Let's go ahead and sit down in our chair. Everybody still doing okay? You know, thumbs up or something. We're going to go ahead and stretch the lower back and the hips a bit now, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my heels are directly underneath of my knees. Okay, we don't want to be like this with our feet. We don't want to be extended. We don't want to be sitting like a cowboy. We're also not the Queen of England. So we want to make sure, kind of like King Tut, right? So we're going to sit like this, and you're going to gently push your feet into the floor, and you should feel a lift in your body. And as you push your feet, you're going to just gently rotate, use the chair as a little leverage. Don't pull this knee. And just kind of let your back twist. Make sure that you are really lifting here. And as you get loosened up, look over your shoulder. Both shoulders if you want. Keep those feet rooted. And if you can go further, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. Hold your stretch. And release nice and slow. Go ahead and just do a modified cat-cow, so you'll kind of bring your chest inwards, bring your hips backwards, dropping your head, exhaling. Inhale as you puff out. Let's do that a few more times. Working on the mobility of the spine. And exhale one last time. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Remember, don't pull on this knee. Keep it totally square. So you can take your opposite hand, use the seat of the chair, and just gently rotate. If your back cracks a little bit, that's all right. Don't do this if this hurts, though. If you start to rotate, it starts to pinch or hurt, don't do this. Just go to like right here, and then slowly kind of spider crawl your way. Your maximum range of motion is going to be different than everybody else's. Deep breathing. You should feel this in the lower back, maybe the shoulders, the backs of the shoulders, maybe even a hip too, and that's okay. Still pushing gently down with the feet, lifting up through the spine. And if you can, go a little bit further. And I'm starting to slouch, so I got to make sure I'm sitting nice and tall. And release nice and slow. Let's go ahead and we're just going to kind of slouch just a little. Just drop the head, kind of angle the hips forward. And let's go ahead and just do a little bit of shimmy here. Just get those lat muscles stretched out. If you have scoliosis, stenosis, kyphosis, lordosis, any osis or itis of the spine, these exercises are going to be pretty difficult for you, but they're going to really help improve or maintain your range of motion. So let's just go ahead and do some more cat-cow. If you can get down on your hands and knees and do a standard cat-cow, you can go ahead and do that. You can also do them standing. Right, so you'll just be like here. And remember, cat-cow is all about the hips. So we're kind of sticking the butt to the back, okay? And then arching the back like your cat, stretching. And then lengthening as we really push the tailbone forward and then drop the head towards the chest. So I see a lot of people doing this with just the chest, and it's not. You got to use your pelvis. I know it's silly, but it really feels good. Stretching here. Exhaling. A couple more of those, everybody. Good. Let's go ahead now, grab a drink of water. Every time you stretch the spine, it's important that you hydrate. The discs between your vertebrae rely on being hydrated. And if you're dehydrated, your back's not happy. It's important that every time you stretch out those muscle fibers, we stay nice and hydrated. So what I mean by those, I'm sure a lot of you know all about this. I just have a spine. Okay, these discs in between the vertebrae here, these are squishy cartilage discs that are mostly water. Okay, so if you're not staying hydrated, your back will know about it. Don't ask where I got that spine. It's not real, just clearing that up. Okay, but it does have severe kyphosis and scoliosis. So we're just going to sit on the very edge of our seat here, and let's just go ahead and cross one arm over our chest without lifting the shoulder. Just going to bring it here and then take the other arm on the top of the elbow and just relax. And I'm using this hand to kind of pull towards my chest, and I should feel a stretch right in here. We're going to go ahead and do about 4 more minutes of stretches, and then we're going to go ahead and open it up. Any requests? Make sure this arm is nice and relaxed. kind of like I'm gently pulling it out of the socket, gently, not yanking on it, but you'll really feel that stretch in the shoulder. And then go ahead and just do some circles, nice and gentle. And then other side. So we're going to cross over the chest, and we're going to take the opposite arm over the elbow and relax this shoulder down. If you're like me, you have a rotator cuff injury right in here. When you bring the arm over, it likes to hunch up. Try to stay tall, try to push that shoulder down as you do the stretch so that you get the right muscles. Keep holding, everybody. And you take a nice deep breath. I'm starting to slouch. I want to stay nice and tall. And go ahead and relax. Do some circles to the back. Just gentle little circles. So one other thing that happens as we get older is the cervical vertebrae, the first two vertebrae below the skull, atlas and axis. They do a lot of moving throughout our lives, okay? I'm using them every single movement I do with my head. I use atlas and axis. So they tend to get kind of tired, okay? So we want to make sure that we have range of motion there. And this is the last thing we'll do for today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my head without tilting it, okay? So I'm going to try to just totally rotate over here, okay? And this is really important, everyone. I see a lot of people when they get older, they're not able to do this, and it affects how you drive. You can't check your blind spot as efficiently anymore. That's so very important, real practical application of this movement here. And you'll find that you might be more mobile on one side than the other. Oh, we're taking deep breaths. I'm not pushing, by the way. If you need to get more stretch, you can take your hand and just gently pull it on your chin. Just gently. And then we're going to go ahead, shoulders down. We're going to think up with the neck nice and tall, and you're going to tilt your head without turning it, okay? For most of us, this is really difficult. Do your best. Nice and slow. And you'll see, actually, when I go to the right, I can do it. I can tilt my head without turning it, but when I go to the left, it's very difficult for me to do that. And that's very common. So you should hold that. Once you find that stretch, you should hold it. You feel it right through here. Go ahead and come up, and let's just roll. Just a couple times either direction. If you decide to go to the back, don't sink down, right? Keep your head lifted the whole time. And let's reach up best we can, all the way up overhead. And exhale, reach, one more. And relax. Well done, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sorry about the technical difficulties.